So I'm Mukesh Taneja. I work as a faculty in the Cornea department here at V Prasad Eye Institute, Hyderabad campus. I guess we are just beginning as of now, in the sense we are at a very nascent stage, but we believe there is a long way to go. So far what has been happening is we basically use whatever has been developed in the West and we basically import it over, and that's how the industry has been giving in the sense that is the way the industry has been going so far. And the device is manufactured and tested in USA or Europe, and basically we are using it here. However, the things are now changing in the sense the concept is now come in that there is nothing that India cannot make, in the sense we have the talent. What we have lacked so far was the infrastructure, but now the infrastructure is very much around. The innovation suddenly has become a buzzword, and we are looking at the solution to the problems and not just copying the solution which has been developed in the West. So in a sense, even the corporate world has woken up to that kind of a challenge. The corporate world was so far, the medical industry so far, they were testing the products which were developed in USA or Europe, and then the testing was happening here, the prototyping was happening here, but the development of the basic product used to be developed in the world, in the West. The patent would be with the developers. We were just that either we were testing the products or we were using the products after it was developed and imported in India. That concept is changing now. Very recently we have been approached by at least I would say 3 major giants in the field. Cyient, then Wipro has approached us, and even Microsoft has approached us, and they want to develop that vertical where they want to work in the medical devices, and they feel that a partnership with LVPI probably would be a big boost in that development in that process. Yes, I believe that is the major challenge that has been faced by India so far. If you understand the education pattern in India, so what happens is from 12th onwards, you are segregated into a non-medical batch and a medical batch, the students. So in a science group, in the sense in a science group, there would be one batch which would be pursuing physics, chemistry, maths, and the another batch would be pursuing the biology. So that segregation happens at your 11th and 12th, and that is what is maintained throughout. So a person who has gone into biology probably would take up pharmacy or MBBS medicine later on in life, and the person who has taken that non-medical thing would go on to become a mechanical engineer or a technician over the years. So they have never been really working together, and that probably I believe was the main challenge in India so far. So if you go to the West, what you would see is in any medical college, in a medical institution, there is already that synergy is happening, in the sense there are laboratories or hospitals where these two groups, engineers or the doctors, they work together. Or you will find people who are there who have done, let's say, a biomedical engineering for 4 years, and then they would go to medicine branch. So that synergy already has been happening in the West for so many years, and that is what has started happening here in India now. So if you have looked around at LVPI, and this particular center, the innovation center, is the example of that synergy which is happening now between the technology and the doctors. So we have, as you have seen, so many engineers who work at this Srijana Eye Center, along with people like me who are clinicians and optometrists and ophthalmologists. They work together. So it's very simple. You ophthalmologist or a clinician now has a clinical problem, and he can right here discuss that problem with the engineer, a mechanical engineer, or optical engineer, or a computer engineer, and come with a solution then and there, and they both work together to basically make it more simple, precise solution which is workable in a clinical setting. So this synergy I believe is happening, has started happening now. There are not many centers where it is happening, and that probably places us at a unique position where we have this advantage that both the groups, technocrats as well as the medical people, are working together, and I believe that's the way forward and to go, in the sense that would lead to many new innovations in the field of ophthalmology at our center. And I think as of now what we are touching is just about probably 5% of what there is a potential to happen in the medical devices or the medical technology field, and I am talking about just ophthalmology. I guess there would be 20 times more which need to be done in medicine per se, orthopedic, gynecology, skin. I think there would be a much more need there also. We are focused on ophthalmology, but medical device industry per se, I guess, is now looking at a giant leap forward, and Indian companies are majorly looking into that field. They want to develop that verticals now, and I think this is going to be a way forward for future. Again, let me go back to, during my school days or my college days, you were never really enthusiastic about the word research. You used to think the research is done by scientists, so there are different class of people who do research. We never thought that I particularly would be doing the research. I am a clinician, I am an ophthalmologist. My job is to see the patients, prescribe them medicines, do surgeries, and that's how the ophthalmology goes. But coming here, I did my fellowship way back here in 2001 and 2002, and then research has been a part of our curriculum from right there from the fellowship days, and thereafter I came back and joined here as a faculty in 2008. So as a part of my job profile, research is an inherent component. And 2008 I started working on a very innovative product, what we call a gel IOL. So this was a collaborative project between V Prasad Eye Institute, Brian Holden Vision Institute, Australia, and Bascom Palmer Eye Institute, America. So what we were trying to develop was a gel kind of a thing which will go inside the eye with a keyhole and would work as a accommodative IOL. This was something which I used to read during my MBBS days, and you would be surprised to know that the initial experiments on this technology happened way back in 1965 and 1967. 1965 in New York, USA, and you have to believe me, the 1967 experiments happened right here in India in RP Center, AIMS in Delhi. But that was not pursued over the years, and we have started pursuing at our institute recently in 2005 or something. I got involved with that project in 2008, and then during working on that project I saw the amazing prospects or potential which is there in the field of technology, and I saw that synergy happening between the medical profession and the technocrats at that particular time, which developed my interest in this particular field. If I can tell you, yes, as I got in touch with the Bascom Palmer team at that time, 2013 and 14, I went for 1 year fellowship to Bascom Palmer Eye Institute in USA, which is the #1 eye institute in US. There I worked for 1 year with Dr. Parel. Dr. Parel is not an ophthalmologist, he is an engineer, he is a biophysicist. And then from within I could see how the various products for ophthalmology are developed, how they are brought into being, how they are tested. We used to test those products in animals there, and we were making them in-house and testing them. So that exposure probably changed my perspective drastically, in the sense there is so much potential to add to this synergy between the technology and the medical people, and that's what I am trying to do now. So one of our products which I was working in US was the teleophthalmology thing. So where we developed a robotized slit lamp. So there is a slit lamp is a eye equipment which is routinely used by all the ophthalmologists whenever they are examining a patient in their clinic. So what we did was we modified it, robotized it, and placed the control through internet to your desktop, your laptop, your smartphone or whatever. So this technology, what it does is you can see a patient, examine a patient who probably might be seated about 100 kilometers, 1000 kilometers across the continents, and you can see that patient live 3D images in 3-dimensional images on your desktop. We have tested it between Miami and here in Hyderabad. We have already placed 2 such equipments at our primary centers in Khammam. So we can see those patients, diagnose those patients while sitting in Hyderabad, while the patient is right there in Khammam, which is about 350 kilometers from here. The second product which I would say is very close to my heart is this we call it Bullseye, LV Prasad Bullseye drop instiller. So what happened was, like, when I was in US, I have a mild dry eye myself, and I use lubricating or soothing eye drops in my eye occasionally. So there, as I was alone, so I used to be putting the eye drops on my own in my eye, and this used to become a very difficult process, in the sense, if anyone among yourselves have tried putting the eye drops in your eye yourself, you will see you will spill the drops most of the time. It will go on your cheek, on your eyelid, and maybe you will have to make 3-4 attempts to put one eye drop in your eye. So you would tend to waste 40-50% of the times the drops outside the eye. And in US, if you realize, the eye drops are pretty much, all the medicines for that matter are pretty much costlier, much more than here. So it would pinch my pocket every time I would miss a drop. So that time I thought this probably would be a problem which is faced by everyone. I mean, I never really cared about it when I was in India, because either my wife would put the drops in my eye, or even if the drop would spill, I would not mind, as as a physician, I always get samples from the industry, so it was not going out from my pocket. When I saw it was going out from my pocket, I realized that this is a major problem, which I guess would be faced by so many patients. And if you go to the literature, or you make a simple Google search, you would say that this problem has bothered people for so long, and people have tried different ways to solve this problem. Most of them have been a mechanical ways. They have made a cap kind of a thing where you would put the eye bottle and it will go in. I thought about a simple mirror kind of a device, and the idea came there when I was in US, but it materialized when I came back here in India. So I just discussed it with one of our engineers, Mr. Harsha. So I shared the problem with him, and by the next day itself, he had the first prototype ready. And it is just simple, a mirror device where you can put, it can get attached to any of the eye drops which is commercially available. And the beauty is, it is a very pocket friendly, you can fold it and put in your pocket and use it with any eye drop bottle. So you can see your eye as well as the eye drop nozzle when you are trying to put the drops, and it goes right into your eyes. We have actually tested it among volunteers, and now we are testing it among the patients right now. So the initial data which we have collected, it shows that if you are using the eye drops without the device, you tend to waste it about 45% to 50% of the eye drops, while if you are using it with the device, you tend to waste about 5 to 10%. So there is at any given day, you are saving about 35 to 40% of your eye drops. Now, eye drops is a costly affair now in India also. Like, there are drops which cost you 100 rupees, 300 rupees, even 600 rupees. So on a 600 rupees bottle, you would save something like a 300 rupees every time. And this is a one-time investment which will work with all the bottles. So I believe eye drop industry is a multi-million-dollar industry, and I see that this probably not just for the commercial angle, but it is a convenience also. So there are so many patients who would be alone, I mean elderly patients who are at home and they are using the drops on their own, which they have a very difficult time putting it on. So it will be very helpful for them also. The whole IT industry, where the people are working, have computer vision syndrome, and they are putting eye drops while they are sitting in front of the computer. I think it will be very useful for them also. And we recently actually have filed a patent also on this. So I believe this is one of the very first few, the second one which we have the patent filed from LV Prasad. I mean, there have been other patents also, but this is one which is owned totally by LV Prasad, other than the Dr. Prem Nandani's patent on the pediatric perimeter.